Yes, pondering the meaning of silence. It was a philosophical quandary.
That is much harder to calculate than that spider question Jonas had.
That was a good question, I have to admit.
At any rate, you folks might as well load up both the world map as well as the Foghaven map. On account of you folks planning on heading there, unless you've suddenly changed your minds and decided to
suddenly
pull a
leaving Foghaven.
swerve on the GM.
We're going to the arena fight.
All right.
How much is the ticket?
Leaving and
Alright,
going
so
to
you fight
Exodus.
the Emperor.
Oh, I'm still wondering how much the ticket would be. No one would take it, but the camp would take it.
By the time you get there, the arena fights will likely be over.
No! Damn it, this town spoiled it all for us.
Well, to be fair, like, the ship's pretty much vanished over 2 fucking weeks ago, so...
That's true.
if the arena combat is still ongoing, that would certainly be something.
We got delayed due to bad weather.
Don't worry, ship prices will normalize after the walls have been removed from the campaign.
Yeah. After we have no more desire to go anywhere.
Yes.
Because we have more important shit to deal with.
Genius. It's like I've studied CRPGs and other tabletops over the years.
CRPGs, huh?
CRPGs. That's right, I am sick of having to distinguish my tabletop RPGs from RPGs. I'm gonna call them just RPGs or TRPGs. No more tabletop RPGs. TRPGs from here on. I'm making a new trend. This is my moment.
Make it count.
Yes. Alright, are there any last minute questions or comments for each other before we begin the session?
So we gotta deal with this damn undead this time, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
What is the chance?
Alright.
What is the
Sure,
chance?
we'll do it.
What is the chance of getting? What is the chance of getting 12 rolls underneath 5 when it comes to base?
Grimith, I still have my 6 from last time for the High Druid, right?
Yes, you still do, along with
Right.
Sheep's 5 for the Great Gold Worm. I have those penciled down.
At least the mausoleum is a good change of scenery from all this forest.
You know, you won't,
Maybe we'll have luck in there. I mean, maybe there will just be like a little ghost.
You probably won't have to worry about the High Druid's influence within a crypt.
Yeah, hopefully.
We go in there and they like close it behind us, like, oh well, that was that.
Well,
Collapse
that's
the damn
what
thing.
I'm expecting to happen.
Surprise! Alright, good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to the glamour and glitz that is 13th Age. First things first, recap time. Sheep, in your own words, what happened last session?
Alright, last session, we decided that it was time for the bandits to go away. So we went looking for their hideout that we had information was somewhere near Fullcatch Bay. However, finding it was not as easy as we thought, but after much searching we did indeed spot the enormous mansion that was built precariously close to the river for some reason. And our first quest was to get inside, and we kind of thought a lot about how to do it because there were patrols and we wanted to be sneaky and all and kind of get in there without anyone noticing, which ended up in us spending about 15 hours talking about strategy to come up with the genius plan of rigging one of the trees to basically smack its branch into one of the bandits' faces, hopefully incapacitating him and allowing us to question him. The plan worked kind of, as we managed to drag 2 of the bandit patrols into the forest, one of whom got knocked out, the other ran away. We questioned him, found out that there were some weird people in the mansion, like a wizard and drow, or dark elves, I suppose, sitting in the trees. And, well, it eventually came down to just, us assaulting the mansion basically head on. Which worked out until we went face to face with the actual Whispering Revenger, who was sitting around a table with like 6 of his comrades, I think. 5?
Basically a full adventuring party.
Yeah, him and his 4 friends.
Yeah. And he was like, hey, how about I give you money and you work for me since you killed everyone else? And we were like, no, you're a bandit, you are evil.
That's a nice offer.
And then we fought, and we got basically rather badly hurt in the process. After 2 or 3 rounds, we decided that with 2 or 3 people down, let's just threaten the bandit's wife/lover and hopefully get out of here alive. And so, in mechanical terms, we took a campaign loss and booked it. And now we are deciding that let's do something completely different. Let's look at some mausoleums.
Okay. Manaki, start us off with relationship dice.
Yes. So I will roll my relationship die. Where's my token, damn it?
So you have a token on the world map. I don't think there's any PC
Oh,
tokens
alright,
in Foghaven.
I was just looking for it. I think that's where we left them last time, but
Yes.
let's see here. Relationship roll. That's an Archmage 6 and an Archmage 5.
Alright.
I'll
Alright.
add that to my other one.
That will be triggered now then.
alright.
Well, we'll handle it immediately after people roll theirs.
Sure.
We'll go ahead and have Dark go ahead and roll yours.
Good joke.
Yes. There you go.
This needs a notepad opened. I actually need to open a notepad for this now.
I have
Oh,
to
it's
admit,
like the best one that you procced.
I have to admit, this was one of my seriously major interests coming into this session. Will Dark manage to trigger one of his relationships?
Admittedly, for going into a crypt, I rolled the best one.
We can handle that now. In the early morning, while Leon is keeping watch, and none of the others are awake, Leon's attention is suddenly attracted by a low growl. You open your eyes to see a spirit hovering near you, translucent and formless. It reeks of grave dirt, and a cold wind blows across your spine when it begins emitting violet light. "You are not welcome in Foghaven," it rasps. "Forces beyond you are on the move. Remember your place, fledgling, or we will remember it for you." The spirit then vanishes just as quick, leaving you alone. Except for the others who are sleeping. And 2 terrified bandits who are gagged and bound nearby.
Are they
Oh,
awake?
right, those 2.
They've had great difficulty sleeping on account of the stories of fire ants and everything else. It has not been happy times for them. So really, this was just like an unadvertised feature.
Leon will look around, checking if the others are asleep or not. See
yeah.
that? See,
Everyone else is asleep except for you and the 2 terrified, even more so now, bandits.
with a hand gesture, we're kind of just calm down.
They are not so willing.
I don't think so.
All right.
Leon will stay awake for a while and consider this. What just transpired.
Sheep, go ahead and give me your relationship dice.
Alright. That's nothing.
Thomas is not able to turn an advantage of the session, and now Fargus, go ahead and give me your relationship dice.
Yep.
All right. Well, I don't have anything immediately in mind for that 5, so if you come up with an idea, or if I come up with an idea, or anyone else in the group comes up with an idea of how you can spend that during the session, by all means.
Alright.
Okay. Let's see here. It's a bitter God's Day morning on the 25th of Patchwall. A stinging wind blows from the bay, carrying with it thin tendrils of fog that drape themselves across the cove. You awaken to the sounds of briny waves crashing against the shore, and to the acrid odors of your captives, the 2 bandits you seized in prior days. Both look bleary-eyed and defeated, a disposition you may have come to share. Dwohurim, you awaken to a bit more of an interesting situation in that your right hand, as it turns out, is clenching a thin crimson stick, perhaps like a wand, around which a small scroll is wrapped.
Well, Hiram will sort of look up as he's sort of, glaring with his eyes, looking around, a little confused, and he'll move it up and try to read the note.
The note says, Dwohurim Harsca, on behalf of your great service to the Empire, and for the tragedy you have suffered in prior moments, we bestow upon you this gift so that you may better serve the Empire in facing its enemies. And it has both the symbols of the Archmage and the Emperor upon it.
Oh. I'll take a look at it.
This is the Wand of Reckless Abandon. This wand turns any attack spell that targets a randomly determined number of targets into a reckless one. You may increase the number of targets by 1d3, but any allies engaged with any of the targets also take the damage from the spell. So if you use this wand to cast Breath of the Wight recklessly, or Lightning Bolt, the spell affects 1d, or however many targets, plus an extra 1d3. But any allies engaged with them would also be attacked. And I will send you the quirk through a Skype instant message.
Wand of Reckless Abandon.
Yes.
That's an adventurer tier thing, right?
It's an adventurer tier item. It's basically no action, like a free action, to activate in combat, and has a recharge roll 16+. So after combat, you would roll a d20 hoping for a 16 or better. And I have just sent you the quirk, which I think you might find apt for your character.
Oh man!
I don't like that. I don't like that laugh from Grimith. That's the no-go laugh.
I've had that item reserved in mind since the first session, in case that it ever became appropriate to award that.
You may increase the number of targets by
And it
43,
counts as a
but-
wand.
But one of these targets
it
has to
is.
be Thomas.
It is a wand, so the default bonus a wand provides is +1 attack and +1 damage.
That's what I want.
Obviously, your magic missiles wouldn't get the +1 attack, but they certainly do get the
Yeah.
+1 damage.
His Ray of Frost, though, works.
Anyway, that's where we pick up with you folks, waking up in the bitter morning, around, basically secluded within your cove, as you ended up arriving the night prior. Your two captives, emit acrid odors. They haven't exactly had the luxury of using the restroom in any other location.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but what could we do?
Well, Thomas was probably one of the first ones to wake up after a rather short and exhausting night of sleep. As he eventually turns to the others who are now awake, points at the two captives and just says, "So what do you think we should do with them? I don't think they are useful anymore, but I think we might as well let them go. What harm can they do at this point?"
You sure we shouldn't just take them back to town and hand them in?
That would be the same as killing them.
The bandits nod effusively at Thomas's words.
Well, they might not get a death penalty. They might rot in prison instead. I don't know about the laws of this land.
So looks at them. Says, they're not good people, but so looks to Thomas as if you having more experience with these sorts of things than I do, and I'm in a good mood.
You are?
It's quite. I slept very well.
I'm glad you
Handling the nice crimson wand.
curiously look at the wand.
Thomas shrugs. "Yeah, you do have a point. I'm usually the one who catches, or who used to catch people like this. But I don't know. I am retired after all."
Nonsense. I think they have suffered a bit. Without their weapons and, much else. To some degree, perhaps they have learned something.
They both nod effusively at Dwohurim's words.
I'm not sure about that. What do you think they will do once we release them?
Shrugs. You should send them in direction of Newport. They could reasonably get there.
Good.
It's only a few days
Sort
of travel.
construction work.
I mean, we do need experienced fighters if we're gonna challenge the High Druid.
I think they want to fight the High Druid.
They both shake their heads.
You know what happened to the Bugbear? I think it's the same with these two. Their spirits are broken.
I guess so.
Zeta looks over and says, you probably wouldn't want to go back to your old boss. He seemed rather angry when we left him.
I wonder why.
Not very satisfied with his guards, as it happens.
They both give concerned looks at each other.
I'm sure you know how generously and how merciful he can be. So, I suppose it's up to you. So how about this? Logan says, if the others, of course, agree with it, I'd be fine if you just gave us an honest promise that you'll behave from now on.
Think we might want to take away their mouth thing.
The gags, yes.
Gags, there we go.
Sure, I'll go and take it away.
They basically begin pleading for their lives and for mercy in front of all of you.
It's just kind of...
He doesn't have a problem with letting them go at this point. We've kind of punished them a bit. To some degree.
It does feel odd to just let these criminals walk away, but my job as a guard was always to protect people, and putting these two into some prison where they will rot until who knows what the people will do to them, that doesn't seem like something that is really necessary.
They make solemn declarations about traveling to Newport, perhaps getting work at one of the numerous docks there.
Armstrong says, we ourselves will be going there eventually. Perhaps if we see you there, we could, offer you a bit of gold, just to incentivize you to actually do this when times are hard. Shrugs. Regardless, I'm fine with letting them go.
Yeah, I'm okay with it as well.
If they do turn back, all they'll be doing is forced to then dig a grave for all their old fellas and then jump into it as it's buried.
Perhaps.
Yeah, you're almost done with him. He'll leave. Letting the others decide what to do with him exactly. He doesn't really like this smell.
Thomas will just take another look at both Leon and Fargus, and unless they have any objections, he will just untie the two bandits, and I'm assuming they'll just
Run for life.
leg it, really.
Well,
Probably try to stand.
Yes, they'll attempt to, in an attempt to, they'll hobble over towards the water, perhaps to drink, maybe. Although, in good sense, perhaps they shouldn't be drinking that.
They'll be fine.
At the very least, wash themselves off a bit.
Or if they come out, Dwohurim can give him a ration of food.
Right.
And, he's not going to leave these people starving here. That's the best way to make them criminals.
They will greedily eat, and that's how you'll end up leaving them then. Sitting down, attempting to greedily eat as much as they can.
Yeah.
Right. Your return to Foghaven goes much quicker. Arriving in the coastal town by mid-afternoon, you can go ahead and transition to Foghaven and even put your tokens there. The unusually cold weather has abated, leaving only a gentle breeze on a warm autumn day. As you head for Senator Cabot's house, you can't help but notice the people, their nervous energy, the lines of worry etched onto their faces, boisterous conversations, now whispered between friends. You also note a number of armed and armored men patrolling the streets. The town watch, you're told. You arrive at your destination without further incident, and I will go ahead and make that destination visible through the fog, because I have that power.
Finally, she's actually taking hand of some things.
Viv recognizes you at the door and escorts you to the study, so you can go ahead and move yourselves to the top right portion. Senator Cabot is noticeably thinner, and her tired eyes lift from the cluttered desk as you enter. She manages a faint smile when she sees you. Travelers, I had feared the worst. What news do you bring me from Meadowdell?
Looks Lockwood as I would have come to you earlier, but it seemed you were busy.
Yes, the recent and not so recent trials have been time-consuming for all of the Senate.
So, frowned slightly, not really knowing what she's talking about, but proceeds with his deals. Meadowdell, sadly, is lost. It seems that something, we're still not sure exactly what happened, but the result of whatever happened was that the tower with the Archmage's runes was disrupted. The rune damaged badly. A golem escaped, and so did a basilisk that poisoned the area and turned all the citizens to stone.
Her eyes widened in surprise. A basilisk?
It escaped into the forest, where it would likely dwell deep inside.
Oh. She lowered
We,
her
however,
head.
managed to repair the rune, so the land should stay protected.
It's no wonder. They would have had no chance against that. Why would the Archmage keep such a thing there? But that, if the basilisk, she ponders, the basilisk, surely someone must have escaped there. We had sent scouts before, and there would have been travelers who would have moved through the region.
No. The bandit had set up attackers along the highway. All people who traveled it were to be killed if they had reached Meadowdell, ensuring that the city here would not find out what had happened.
And then would keep sending people to keep getting stolen from.
Senator Cabot
Killed.
remains bewildered. Bandits? Working
Yes.
together with a bat? No, that doesn't make any sense.
They may just be taking advantage of what happened.
Right.
Profiteering.
Because you would keep sending scouts to keep searching for what happened to the basilisk, and they would keep raiding whoever you sent.
We finished off the bandits there.
If the basilisk is still alive, I'm gonna have to... That land will remain poisoned for... hell, maybe even until the spring.
The druids in the forest would most likely try to deal with the basilisk.
Yes, that would at least remove that threat. However, a basilisk's pains linger even after death. It sickens the land. I am sure you four, she counts you again just to make sure you're four, undoubtedly noticed as much if you traveled through terrain shared by the basilisk.
He nods solemnly.
So the bandits. So you've killed them then. And this news, well, that certainly qualifies as a completion of the task. She begins to open up her desk, and you hear the sound of metal. I don't suppose you've done anything else with the bandits. It has been a number of days.
We have.
We attempted to seek them out, to see if we could find them. By lead some of the bandits had on them. We found a hideout, assaulted it after some consideration, defeated a good large amount before we had to withdraw.
A good majority were destroyed.
the bandits have likely abandoned the hideout and gone somewhere else. Regardless, they should trouble us less.
Did you actually see the Whispering Ravinger?
I do believe so.
Could you tell me about him? She leans forward, interested on her desk. I've heard stories, but no one that I know has gotten a good look at him.
Francis, I personally did not get a very good look.
Liam,
Looks to some of the others.
Liam will go forward to begin to describe the Whispering Ravenger in the excruciating detail he noted in his book.
Senator Cabot will actually pull out like a sheet of paper and start making a quick sketch based on Leon's description.
Leon will show his rough sketch as well, so he kind of has a comparison.
Also, Huron will say that there were also others there who seemed to have some great importance to this Ravenger and who were his close allies. But well as a group.
Unsavory figures.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the reputation of the Whispering Ravinger and his successes over the years have undoubtedly attracted a number of people to his banner. I don't suppose you were able to confirm one way or the other whether they actually are working with the Druid magic and weaponry?
Huron sort of tells his head as well. It is a bit complicated. It seems like they have stolen artifacts from the forest and the Druids.
Stolen?
It also seemed like... Yes. And they have been using these to do many things. He did seem scared at the prospect of facing the Druids in battle, however we were not able to further study his intentions as battle ensued.
Well, you four, she counts again, have certainly accomplished far more than anyone else I have sent for the task, and worthy of not only my consideration, but the reward that was posted as well. She'll finish counting out metal within her desk, and pay the player characters a combined 200 gold pieces.
Okay, that is 40 each.
That would be 40 divided 5 ways.
Yep, I'll keep Gryph's spare one in my back pocket. With his cube.
I'll keep a share in my back pocket, together with himself.
I've added basically a little note to my sheet as he's saying 40 to Gryph.
Well, that, in some concerns, I thank you for your time in this.
Thomas will kind of awkwardly scratch the bridge of his nose and say, Senator, one last thing. I saw that you've mobilized the town guard. Perhaps you would allow me to talk with the officers, with whoever's in charge. Perhaps I can help in some way. You undoubtedly know that I have some experience in that regard.
She offers a bigger smile. Yes, the one who oversees it is a rather... She wrinkles her nose, squirmy sort. Salvatore Crane, he's not that much of a guard. He's really a coward, but he's gotten his position more by his influence, particularly as a senator, than by his martial merit.
A politician and coward as the guard's commander. Well, that's great.
Well, luckily I think with the exact reverse, Thomas.
She offers like a pained shrug and says, "The consequences of Foghaven's government." There is fallout to be had after what transpired some days ago, not to mention all of the other conflicts that have resulted from the bandits. The problems that remain here are largely in a political theater. And
and I was never particularly good at, well, other than imagining strangling a few people on occasion. She gives a rueful smile.